All right, grown black folks talk. Well, she said to vet research. How do we do that? Okay, fair enough. How to do basic vetting and researching of anybody you deal with, relationship, non-relationship. This follow-up video to who not to deal with after 5 and any time. Since there are men out here promoting that other men, if you date them after 5, you should understand that you should be on the table as a consumable, meaning that someone can spend 20 the price of a female slave and expect to have you for dinner too. I said in the last video that you shouldn't date those kind of men at any time of the day. I reached it. And the first person to said that was not me. It was Mr. Tony Gaskins who brought it to my attention. And then I went and saw the gentleman that he was talking about actually did say that. You shouldn't deal with a man that believes in that stuff any time of day. So, you have to vet everybody. And I also said that it does not matter what race of men you're dealing with. Tony Gaskins is black. The other gentleman is also black, meaning that there are black men on opposite sides of this issue. There are black men who are decent men on this issue. How do you tell the difference? I will give you some tips from my background as an investigator, as a journalist who was trained as an investigative journalist who became a copy editor, meaning that I was presented the story and then I had to go do vetting and research on the story itself before publishing it to make sure it was correct. These are not things that if you don't know how to do these things, you don't know how because you do not have the training and it is not your fault. As Black women, a whole lot of the people around us would rather we not know how to look after ourselves in that kind of big detail. A whole lot of people in the world. This crosses all races. Everybody knows our foremothers were slaves, and there are men of all races who are wanting to get us back to that position. To my swirlers and divestors, what I say is change your circle. I did not say change your race because there are men of all races that are going to attempt to reduce you back to the status of your foremothers. There is no argument to be made about this as long as certain groups of men are out there still waving Confederate flags, and it's not the ones that wave them aloud that you need to watch out for. The numbers on that in some circles are one as high as 1 in 4, and that's just the ones we know about. When other circles are out there conquering Africa and are putting out these studies talking about how unattractive we are, that's Asia. And another group of people are out here coming from a 5-level caste system. Conquistadors, white, Criollos, white again, mestizos, half white, half native, mulattoes, mulattoes, half white, half black, morenos, half native, half black, and you are at the bottom at Negro. No matter who you deal with, you have to be able to vet, you have to be able to research. Well, okay, how do you do this? Okay, now, the vetting strategies I'm going to give you have not resulted in a marriage for me. So let's go there first. However, I have never been mistreated by anyone I dated. I've never been called out of my name. I've never been rankly disrespected. Things didn't work out because they didn't work out. They weren't ready. And when I was young enough, I wasn't either. Let's just be frank. None of us have really had the kind of preparation necessary to do this. So, I mean, as a community, because the community was going through things. The other thing about growing up in San Francisco is the men that I've loved have been in a survivor pool where they were good men, but it took them all their emotional energy to survive. And they were not necessarily ready to cross the gap to being married with children and being a provider protector, because really they want a lot of credit and they had survived and were good men. So what we're going to call this is how to eliminate the men who think that they have a right to give you something that will kill you for the cost of a date. You can eliminate them. All right, let's get into the details. First thing is, if a man approaches you, get his full name. A good way to say that is, I always like to know a man's full name because I want to give you the respect. If you don't want to be called Mr., that's fine, but I have a Southern background. I do. My family's from Texas. But which of you doesn't, given the history of Black people in the United States? Find out his full name. Once you have that, you can begin a process. So you know what he looks like. His full name, you want to talk on the phone, you might talk on social media, Zoom, Facebook, get some numbers, get some social media handles, and then look at what he has. Google his name, look at what he has. And when you go there, see who his friends are, see what kind of things he likes, what kind of videos he likes, what kind of things he posts up on his page. Also notice the kind of, if he's a single man, notice what kind of women he has around. If he has a whole lot of them, that tells you something. If he doesn't have a whole lot of them, it tells you it tells you he's careful about his social media. But if the women that he tends to like are not your type, you need to ask yourself, what's the interest? Could there be another reason for a sudden interest in you? I got all dark on the screen when I said that. The camera problems, y'all. Excuse me. Let's see if I can fix that up. Camera problems, y'all. Sorry about that. Uh, Find out, understand that that's an issue. That can be an issue. That's just something else you have to find out. If you're not the type of person this person is liking on social media, why are they suddenly changing their mind about that? And if they are getting with you, are they going to resent the fact that you're not that person that they think they can't get? A lot of men are out here, they talk about us as Black women get into a certain age and then want the kind of woman, the man that we rejected and didn't think was good enough. Well, they're still mad because they couldn't get certain baddies in high school. And they're settling too and will use you as a what they call starter wife to get up to where they think they can get the kind of woman they really want. So that's something else to look at. And the person that brought that to my attention was Mr. Tony Gaskins. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If I met a man who generally picks a brick house, a woman in excellent condition, not obese, perfectly fit, and suddenly gets interested in me, I already know you're looking for somebody to settle down with, to take care of you. But if you ever get into a good financial position, there's a good chance you're going to trade up. The second thing that goes with that is this: if you don't really want my type of woman and you settle, even if you never think you're going to move up, you're not going to necessarily want to treat me well, because every time you deal with me, you're going to be thinking about what you really want and getting angry and angry and angry over the years. This is the kind of thing that sets up cheating. This is the kind of thing that sets up problems, because when people do things they don't really want, they can get really disrespectful and really resentful. And given the rates of Black femicide, really violent, really fast. I'm a 5'3" woman. No matter how large or how much weight I carry, that will always be true. So if you notice that this person has people around him that are not your type, whatever your type may happen to be, understand that needs to be considered and questions need to be asked. If there's anything like a red flag, if there are any manosphere, red pill, MGTOW, SYSBM, red pill, black pill creators that this person is listening to and big upping on his page, nope. He's not going to get over that. This is something he invested in before you ever came along. If you're 18 to 25 in particular, these men are hunting you. They think it could be 40 and 50. And if you are 16 through 18, these men are defending men who think they should have access to you too. And even 14 through 16, although I don't expect y'all to be listening, but if one of you happens to come across this, just understand, everybody has social media. Vet these people out. Vet them out. Go through their social media, get a real name, get a way to connect to them, a phone number. Next thing you want to do with that real name, run a background check. In the Black community, we have an amazingly high percentage of felons owing to the crime bill put forth by Joe Biden when he was a senator in 1986 and 1994. In California, where I live, the most draconian jail sentences ever passed out since 1865 were passed out under Attorney General Kamala Harris, who is now our vice president. So there is a legacy. The thing about men who have felony convictions, no matter what we think about the injustice, a man who's been in prison 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years has certain habits that go with that. There are certain habits that got him convicted. There are habits that he has picked up. And unless he's done work on himself, the habits remain. Doesn't mean that every man who's a felon is not going to turn his life around. But you need to know that. Just like his job would demand that he put that down, it's one of those things he's not going to want to tell a woman. You need to find it out. Then you've got also the fact that there is a big old sex offender registry. You need to look in there too. And this doesn't pay, this isn't a reference in the Black community. Some things come up more often, but this is also not a reference to race either. You need to know. Okay, so we've got through social media, we've got through the background check, we've got through the sex offender registry. Okay, so far, okay, if you have not seen any major red flags here, here's something else to look for. It doesn't always come to mind. Is he employed? That's a basic. Is he employed? And in the things that he looks at and works on, is he someone who surrounds himself on his social media and in the job that he works, in his profession or the business that he runs? He may own his own business. LinkedIn is a good place to look. It doesn't always come to mind. LinkedIn, Elance, Upwork, if he works for himself, ClickFunnels, etc. Lots of places to see what people are doing. Google him also. Blue collar, white collar, that's made a big deal of. Here's what you want to know. Because I come from a background where the men were blue collar, the women were white collar, and they were able to work together. But what you want to find out is, because if you can work together, that's the ultimate combination, actually, because it covers all of the knowledge of the economy. But here's what you want to know: whether the man is white collar or blue collar, or working for himself, is his outlook toward the world a problem-solving, solution-based outlook? Go back to social media. Look at his comments. Look at who he listens to. Is he listening to people that are making him feel like everyone else is responsible? See how the room got dark again? Everyone else is responsible for everything that happens to him and his group of people. Or is he listening to people that encourage him to be an individual who solves his own problems? Who does he have? Look at the comments that he puts. Is he always complaining about whatever it is that's going on? And gentlemen, if you should happen to be listening to me, all these things apply to you too, because there's some very bad women out here as well. But as I say all the time, I aim this for the ladies because, again, the likelihood of a Black woman killing a Black man in a relationship, yeah, it can happen, but it's much smaller because physically we're not going to walk up on some. Well, I'm 5'3", not even a 5'9" man. My dad's 5'7" and 85. That's still not going to happen at 85 years old. That's not going to happen. Y'all can turn around and wave that arm one time and kill us. So that's what the difference is and why it is important for us as Black women to talk the way they do. However, the strategies mentioned here should also be used by you, gentlemen. And just because you don't think you have to, because of that strength differential, is why some of you get messed over. You need to vet, and research also. You could avoid a lot of trouble. Just because she turned you on does not mean she's a good person. You need to get her full name, go on her social media and find out all the things I've just told the ladies to find out. And you need to find out if she is a problem-solving person. Because if she's not, she becomes your problem. And ladies, that's also true. If whoever it is that you are considering, if on that social media, all they're doing, you present them an opportunity. There was a situation yesterday where someone presented some information that was really an opportunity to really do better in life. And folks came on and found ways why the entire history of the West means that we can't do this. That's not who you want to get into a relationship with. Because what happens is, it's not necessarily they're bad people. It means that even if they're working, even if they are good in every perspective, they're not going to be able to deal with the stresses that are coming with the time there is to come. Emotionally, they're not going to be able to seize the opportunities necessary. I get up in the morning and almost every day, I find new small opportunities. Opportunities that I found out about last year are now coming closer to within my reach because I'm looking and because I've trained my mind to say, for the first thing for my mind to say is not how we can't, but how we can. You need to be with people that have the same kind of mindset. And that's the final thing I want to tell you. Whether you're talking about a relationship, whether you're talking about a new friendship, whether you're talking about a new working situation, find people who are solution based. Basically, look at this. People who are solution based do not also need a lot of coping strategies. A lot of people out here who have a lot of romantic partners are actually coping with the fact, the frustrations and the fact that they're not excelling in other areas. If you work with solution-based people, they are putting their energies into creating solutions, not coping with the fact that they don't have any. Generally speaking, solution-based people and people who are out of control in their romantic life, generally that doesn't go together. There are exceptions to every rule, which is why do the whole thing in a line. First, make sure you're not dealing with a criminal. Well, first, make sure you're not dealing with someone whose sexual life is out of control, most likely. Go through their social media. Have a look at that. Make sure they're not a criminal. Find out who they listen to. Make sure they don't listen to people that think that your life is worth $20 they can lay down with you for the price of a meal. Make sure they don't listen to people like that. Make sure that you're not dealing with someone who is settling down with you because they can't get the type they want. They're going to take that out on you for the rest of your life, as long as you deal with them. Make sure that you're not dealing with people who, but then after you've done all that, now what I also personally did, I'm a little bit older than some of you, I'm 41. I got to know everybody around certain people. If so-and-so was doing this, that, and the third thing, I would go and show up where they were and get to know the people around them. I would get to know the people around them and get their opinion of that person as well. I'd find a way to do that because I'm an investigator by thinking. Now that we have social media, you can do this from the comfort of your own home. But the idea is, the final thought here is, understand that when you get with someone as a friend, as a romantic partner, as a worker, you're not only getting with them, you're getting with the circle around them. So as you vet them, you also take that opportunity to learn who's in their ears, who's in their circle, and are you safe in the circle? The man I love the most in isolation might have made a good husband, but the circle he was in, and I realized that would have been in his ear, because I would have, if he and I had children together and those people started getting my children's ears, I am a mama bear. Folks were about to die. And I realized at that point, there's no way in the world, because it's not my children that I need to worry about. It's who's in his ear. This is never going to work. So I left that circle. He was the man I loved the most. The next man I had begun to love, I realized the same issues were beginning to happen. That he was comfortable in the circle he was in, and he wasn't intending to change. And so, nip that in 3 months. Looking at the man's circle, if he passes all the other tests, is very important. Gentlemen, same thing. The woman in isolation might be good, but you got to look at who else is going to be in her ears. You want to be with people who are problem-solving, productive, positive people, and have those people in their ears, so that when you bring these two circles together, you form a linking circle that is strong, because that whole circle will support your marriage and your family and your legacy. If you're not going to do that, why bother? There are people out here, ladies, who believe they have a right to kill you. Gentlemen, there are people out here who believe that they have the right to leave you broke, busted, and disgusted to keep their game going. Yes, there are women like that. I know this. I strive to be fair. I talk more to the ladies because, again, our lives are more at stake. But it's not fun to be broke, busted, and disgusted either. And I recognize that. It goes without saying that you need to be of the quality you want to find. I did 2 videos, and one is listened to much more than the other in escape velocity practicalities. First of all, how do you vet the circle you want to go to? But then are you safe to be there? I leave that for your consideration. All right. You have a good day now. I'm probably not going to come back unless something huge comes up. You have a good day now. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.